As someone who is very much looking towards the future and realizing that if AI and robots continue on the trend that they are, no one will work. It's going to be far too cost effective for businesses to use AI and robots. So it appears like, to me, this is not financial advice. This is just me looking and trying to learn that if people can't work, they have to have some type of way of making money. There must be something that allows you to make money. Well, if you can't work, the only other thing I can conceptualize about owning is assets. And it's about choosing the correct asset. And after doing some research and having a lot of deep conversations with myself, it appears that gold truly is the hardest asset to which you can create a financial system on top of. Don't get me wrong, I love Bitcoin, I love Digibyte, I love the idea of certain decentralized proof of work cryptos. However, in a society where everything collapses, technology, communication, everything, imagine we get sent back to the Stone Age, we would all default back to gold. And I don't need to sit here and explain everything you know about gold. Go watch another video if you want the history of gold. Other people will cover it far more in depth than I am. Moral of the story is, this is not financial advice, but based on my own research, it feels like owning gold will be the best hedge against AI, robotics, and quantum computing and everything like that. There's a place for crypto, don't get me wrong, but it relies on the massive assumption there's always going to be technology. And here's where it gets interesting. In that same conversation with Grok, I played the other side. If everything stays the same and actually keeps progressing, which hard asset would you choose to back a currency? Because moral big hint, you need to have your currency backed by a hard asset, or you're going to experience what the US is experiencing. And Grok, the AI, it even said, with technology and society progressing and getting more advanced, gold is still the asset. It even included crypto in its other type of comparisons it was making against. And even still, gold is the hard asset that it would use to create a financial system. It doesn't mean crypto, Bitcoin, Digibyte, these other really good cryptos can't complement gold and silver and other precious metals. But to me, in my opinion, this is not financial advice. Gold appears to be the smartest thing to own, because either situation, it still is what even the AI recommends to own. That to me speaks levels and depths. When you take that and everything else about gold that you again, watch other people, they'll cover it more in depth. I'm sure at this point most people know the cool stuff about gold. When you combine all of that with the fact that the technology, the thing I'm trying to hedge against, even says, hey, you should pick gold. That's very, very, very interesting. And that's what I want people to realize, is that you can't have infinite war. You can't have infinite debt. You can't have a bunch of failures get bailed out by low interest rates and creating money out of thin air if your money is backed by a hard asset. And that's what gold offers. When you have something as hard as gold backing your financial system, the modern America we live in could never exist. You could never print to infinity to fund wars. You could never print to infinity to fund the corporate welfare, the welfare for the rich, socialism for the rich. Here's a massive secret, guys. We actually have socialism in America. It just only benefits the rich. That's why we have an oligarchy. It's very sick and twisted what's going on in America. And no longer having our money backed by gold was the literal linchpin that enabled it all. So, interesting, different video today. Just kind of wanted to share that information and these screenshots because truly, if we're getting to a point where you're no longer going to be able to work or make money for yourself, something has to make money. And if society collapsed and we still needed a way to transact with each other and rebuild society, gold's the answer. And even if society continues to progress the way it does with technology, gold is still the answer. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing the information I found from doing research and my conversation with AI, and it really inspired me because this is what America needs. It needs to make a plan for just in case, and that's truly changing your mind, changing how you speak, and changing how you act. And that's what they don't want you to know. If you can simply see what's coming and make a plan, you're fine. You're good. You've thought about it and you've positioned yourself to weather the storm. They want you constantly in the storm while having no idea how to get out of it. If you can make a plan and see yourself through the storm every time, you're good. And that's exactly what I'm trying to inspire in people. At least start changing your mind. Because if you change your mind, it'll change how you speak, it'll change how you act, and you'll realize we need to take this country back. And one of the biggest parts is restoring the gold standard. So, for now, take care and God bless.